Today, we're going to get into something that every single person learning a new language goes through. The messy, sometimes super frustrating, but absolutely essential process of making mistakes. We're going to find out why these moments are not just normal, but actually the key to getting better.
Oh, you've totally been there, right? You're trying to ask for directions, maybe just order a coffee, and the words just fall apart. You get that confused look back, and that sinking feeling hits you, and you think, am I even making any progress at all? Well, what if I told you that exact feeling is actually a sign that you are on the perfect track? Let's get into it. So here's our game plan. We're going to completely change how you think about those slip-ups. First, we'll hit the messy truth. Then, we'll look at mistakes versus errors. Yep, they're actually different things. We'll talk about your own personal in-between language, discover the power of noticing, and I'll give you some real strategies for making the mess work. And finally, we'll see why all this mess is actually your natural gift. So, let's dive in.
All right, first things first. Let's just flip the script on what it means to fail. For a long time, old-school teaching methods treated mistakes like they were the enemy, right? A big red X on your paper, a sign you weren't learning. But you know what? Modern linguistics tells a completely different story.
And here is the absolute bottom line. Researchers like Lin Pyong-gwen have shown us that these moments, they're not just unavoidable. They are a core, non-negotiable part of your journey. They're actually hard evidence that your brain is working, that you're trying things and building your skills. It's not a sign of failure, it's a sign of effort.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because not all slip-ups are the same. To really get why they're so important, we have to understand the difference between two things, mistakes and errors. I know, they sound like the same thing, but in the world of linguistics, they are worlds apart. Let's break it down.
Okay, so take a look here. A mistake is what we call a slip in performance. It's when you actually know the rule, but maybe you're tired or you're talking too fast and you just mess it up. If someone points it out, you can usually go, oh, shoot, you're right, and fix it yourself. An error, though, that's different. That comes from a gap in your confidence. You make an error because you just don't know the rule yet. You can't fix it on your own because that piece of knowledge just isn't in your brain. This difference is so important because your errors show us exactly what your brain is trying to figure out.
So, if errors show us what you're figuring out, what does that figuring out process even look like? Well, it's not just random guesses. It's actually a unique personal language system that every single learner builds inside their own head. Let's take a closer look. This system has a name. It's called your interlanguage, and it's pretty amazing. Think of it like a bridge that you're building, plank by plank, between your first language and the new one you're learning. It has its own logic and its own rules. They just might not be the correct rules yet. Your errors aren't random at all. They're a direct result of your own unique interlanguage at work. How cool is that? And this chart here, it just lays it out perfectly. You see how errors come from your competence? That's your deep down knowledge system. They're systematic. But mistakes, on the other hand, they pop up during performance, the act of actually trying to speak or write. They're just little glitches in the system, slips of the tongue.
So what's shaping this interlanguage of yours? Well, one of the biggest things is something called language transfer. Your brain is incredibly efficient. It tries to use the rules it already knows from your native language to figure out the new one. And sometimes that works great. But when the rules don't line up, it causes errors. It's a totally normal, natural thing that every single learner does.
This is just a perfect example of an error called overgeneralization. Think about a little kid learning English. They figure out, hey, to make something past tense, I just add ed at the end. That's a great rule. It's logical. So their brilliant little brain just applies it to everything, and you get words like good and comed. And guess what? Adult language learners do the exact same thing. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign your brain is working hard, trying to find the patterns. It's honestly beautiful. Okay, so we make errors because our amazing brains are busy building this interlanguage. But how do we actually fix those errors and get better? This is where the magic happens. The error itself isn't the learning moment. The real learning happens when you notice it.
This leads us to a massive idea in language learning, the noticing hypothesis. A linguist named Richard Schmidt figured out that for some piece of language, whether it's a word, a grammar rule, whatever, to really sink in and become part of what you know, you first have to consciously notice it. You can't learn what you don't pay attention to.
So here's how it plays out in your head. You say something, maybe you got it a little bit wrong. Then you hear or see the correct version. And in that split second where you consciously realize, oh, that's different from what I said, that's the trigger. That is the moment your brain goes, aha, my rule needs an update, let's fix it.
The error creates the opportunity, but the noticing is what cashes it in for actual learning.
So how can we get better at all this noticing and turn these messy moments into real progress? Especially if you're just starting out, say at that A1 or A2 level, and you're just trying to get the basics down for everyday chats. Let's look at some super practical things you can start doing today.
Look, to build that basic vocabulary for daily conversation, please don't just stare at word lists. That's so boring. Get interactive. Play some games. Things like vocabulary bingo or word matching games turn practice into something fun, where you're actively seeing patterns. And role-playing simple things like ordering food. That's a fantastic way to notice the gap between what you want to say and what you can actually say.
You know, our brains are just wired for visuals, so use that. Using tools like picture dictionaries or flashcards with images creates a way stronger connection in your head between a word and what it means. When you're reading something, just taking a highlighter to the new words makes them jump off the page. This isn't just about making it look pretty. It's a deliberate act of noticing that tells your brain, hey, remember this. It's a simple trick, but it's so powerful.
And this one is a huge tip. Make it personal. Seriously, if you love to cook, learn words from recipes in your new language. If you're all about sports, read sports news. When you connect your learning to things you already love, your motivation just skyrockets, and you're so much more likely to notice and remember the words because they actually mean something to you. This is an absolute game changer.
Okay, let's bring this all together. It's really time to stop seeing those mistakes as a sign that you're bad at this and start seeing them for what they really are, a powerful tool to help you grow. Let's really lean into a new mindset.
I mean, this quote from the linguist Vivian Cook just nails it, doesn't it? Errors aren't just okay, they are a positive sign. They're a healthy indicator that you're actively building and testing out your new language. They are a symptom of learning, not a failure to learn, so let's start celebrating them.
Think about it this way. Every error you make is like a personalized roadmap. Each one points with a big flashing arrow directly to a little gap in your knowledge. So instead of feeling down about it, get curious. Ask yourself, okay, what does this error tell me I don't quite get yet? It's like having your own private tutor showing you exactly what to work on next.
And we'll end on this really powerful idea. Errors are a natural gift. They're not something to be ashamed of or punished for. They're something to be welcomed. And you know what? Even rewarded. So the next time you trip over a sentence, don't back down. See it, notice it, and recognize it for the incredible gift that it is. A crucial, messy, and totally beautiful step on your journey to speaking a new language.